Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning everyone and thank you for joining us this morning. J'aimerais souligner que nous nous réunissons aujourd'hui sur le territoire ancestral, traditionnel et non cédé de la nation Anishinaabe algonquine. Mon nom est Marie-France Lalonde, je suis de la fière députée d'Orléans et la secrétaire parlementaire du ministre de l'Immigration, Citoyenneté et Réfugiés. And I'm here with my two colleagues, the Honorable Sean Fraser and Karina Gould. Écoutez, le passeport canadien, c'est l'un des documents de voyage les plus puissants et les plus respectés au monde. Celui-ci ouvre des portes à travers le monde entier pour des millions de Canadiens. Certains vont l'utiliser pour visiter leurs proches ou explorer le monde et partir à l'aventure. Pour d'autres, le passeport marque la dernière étape de leur parcours d'immigration en devenant citoyens canadiens et en rejoignant une société diversifiée et inclusive qui valorise la démocratie, la liberté et les droits de l'homme. Today, the ministers are here to tell us about the changes our government has made to improve our Canadian passports. These changes would not only better reflect who we are as person, but also strengthen the safety and the security of Canadian travelers. So, je suis vraiment heureuse et honorée ce matin de donner la parole à la ministre de la Famille et des Enfants, l'honorable Karina Gould.
Merci Marie-France. Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis très heureuse d'être ici avec mon collègue Sean Fraser, le ministre de l'Immigration, des Réfugiés et de la Citoyenneté, pour le dévoilement du nouveau passeport canadien. As Service Canada has been working diligently to issue and deliver passports to Canadians, IRCC has been leading the way on the new design of this passport, and I look forward to the grand reveal. Our passport is recognized around the world, and this new design will not only be more secure and reliable, but I believe it will also continue to inspire pride in the hearts of those who carry it. Sean will have more to say about this in a few minutes, but I do want to speak to the current passport. As passports are issued throughout the summer and months ahead, some Canadians will still receive the older version of the passport as Service Canada works through remaining stock and printing capacity comes online. For those who have recently received an up-to-date passport, you will still be carrying the older version of the passport for years, myself included. I got a 10-year passport back in 2020, so I'm going to keep going with that older generation. In fact, depending on when you receive it, you might have it for up to 10 years. And it's important to know that the previous generation of this passport remains secure and reliable. Nous continuerons à offrir aux Canadiens une expérience de haute qualité depuis le moment où ils présentent leur demande jusqu'au moment où ils reçoivent leur nouveau passeport. Je reconnais que cette norme de service s'est dégradée l'année dernière. Nous avons connu une année au cours de laquelle la demande refoulée des voyages a entraîné une augmentation massive de la demande des services de passeport qui, à son tour, créé une arriéré. Nous avons déployé tous les efforts possibles et imaginables pour éliminer ce retard et nous avons rétabli les services de passeport au niveau de qualité que les Canadiens attendent. Since October of last year, Service Canada has been delivering nearly all passports within our 10 and 20-day target, with approximately 99% issued within service standards. And the recent labor disruption in the federal public service has caused Service Canada to enter a bit of a catching-up period. During the labor disruption, we did lose a week of processing time. So there may be some longer lineups and processing times during this recovery. However, we have yet to see this, and we are fully prepared. Entre-temps, nous avons apporté d'autres améliorations pour aider les Canadiens à bénéficier d'un service plus moderne et plus efficace. En mars, nous avons lancé un nouvel outil de vérification du statut des demandes du passeport. Il s'agit d'un outil facile à utiliser qui permet aux Canadiens de vérifier le statut de leur demande de passeport en ligne 24 heures sur 24. Les Canadiens peuvent s'attendre à ce que le gouvernement prenne d'autres mesures importantes pour moderniser le système de passeport. et Service Canada est prête à lancer le nouveau livret en temps opportun. Merci et je cède maintenant la parole à Sean.
Merci Karina, merci Marie-France pour être ici. Thank you so much everyone. Today we've got exciting news as we unveil the new design of the Canadian passport. Our passport is one of the most trusted travel documents anywhere in the world, in part because of the relationships that we have with so many other countries, but also because of the technologies and improvements that we continue to make in our travel documents that protect their authenticity and the security of our passport. J'ai le plaisir de dévoiler le passeport de prochaine génération du Canada, reconçu qui comporte une nouvelle apparence améliorée et des meilleures caractéristiques de sécurité. En plus de la nouvelle couverture, la page antérieure contient des illustrations qui mettent en évidence le paysage, les fonds dans les quatre saisons et le peuple diversifié du Canada. I'm very pleased to be able to unveil Canada's redesigned next generation passport that adds a new and improved look as well as many improved security features. Along with the new cover, the inside pages feature artwork highlighting Canada's diverse people, landscapes, and wildlife across the 4 seasons. One of the most amazing parts of our country is that we are so proud of our natural landscapes. It's a key part of our heritage, from the East Coast, where I call home, to the Arctic, from the Rockies to the prairies, the historic district in Old Quebec, and the Redwoods in BC. Not to mention Canada's many lakes, rivers, and parks. We're very lucky to call this place home, and I think it's one of the most amazing countries in the world. La nouvelle conception du passeport du Canada reflètera la beauté naturelle de notre pays, notre identité multiculturelle et notre esprit d'équilibre, et c'est en mettant en évidence des caractéristiques distinctives comme nos lacs d'eau douce et nos aurores boréales, ainsi que les contributions des autochtones qui ajoutent une couleur canadienne au passeport. The improved passport is going to have new, updated features, including state-of-the-art security features that include a polycarbonate data page. This is the same technology that's used to protect our currency and driver's license, for those who are wondering what it means. Additionally, passport holders' personal information will now be laser engraved instead of being printed with ink, which is going to make the data page more durable and resistant to tampering and counterfeiting. And some other features include a kinogram over the main photo, a custom see-through window with a secondary image of the passport holder, a variable laser image, and temperature-sensitive ink feature that will assure we're dealing with authentic documents. The new security features are going to help ensure Canadian passports remain one of the most secure, reliable, and universally accepted travel documents anywhere in the world. Les nouvelles caractéristiques de sécurité permettront de s'assurer que le passeport canadien reste l'un des documents de voyage les plus fiables, les plus sécurisés, et les plus acceptés universellement. So now, the moment that you'll all be waiting for. If you'll join us here as we unveil some of the design features. Marie-France and Karina, if you will.
Okay. Yeah. That's right. Now, there's usually a slick way you can pull them and they come.
Yes. There you go.
Wonderful.
Look, folks, this is what the new Canadian passport is going to look like. I've had a chance to leaf through the travel document. It's a pretty special document, not only that it captures some of Canada's natural heritage, but of course the security features that I described as well are going to position Canada as a leader when it comes to protecting the authenticity of our travel documents over the course of the next generation. These new passports are going to start to be produced this summer, and rollout details will be announced very soon in the near future. The current passport, as Minister Gould mentioned, remains secure and reliable, and Canadians can still use it until its expiry date. When you submit a renewal application, the passport program is going to provide you with a new one. And before we take questions, I'd like to add just one more thing. Starting this fall, Canadians will be able to renew their passports through an online application, which will include payment processing and uploading their passport photo as well. Et à compter de cet automne, les Canadiens pourront renouveler leur passeport en ligne, ce qui inclura le traitement de paiement et le téléchargement de leur photo de passeport. The federal government is going to continue to work to improve our services and security for Canadians. This passport update is one of the many efforts that's going to improve travel and security. And we continue to work toward a country that reflects the shared values of all Canadians. We have so much to celebrate about being Canadian, whether it's our amazing landscapes, our natural environment, or to the values of diversity and inclusion. My sense is that the new passport design, which was the result of consultation with a number of different groups that provided feedback, reflects who we are as Canadians and is going to help ensure the security of our travel document and universal acceptance for many years to come. Thank you so much. Merci tout le monde. C'est un plaisir d'être ici avec vous ce matin. Excellent. Thank you. Are you going to MC? Do we have questions now?
Well, yes.
Excellent.
We'll now start the questions, first from the floor, and then we'll rotate to the line. It's one question, one follow-up. Please give your name and outlet first.
Thank you, Bahuz. Chris Nardi from the National Post. So first question, I'm looking at these new designs. So it looks like we replaced a lot of, the iconic imagery of Canada's past with a little bit more, non-facial expressions. Explain to me a bit that decision, why you removed historic moments and replaced them with this.
Do you want me to?
We can tag team it.
Sure. Look, I'll go first, and if Karina has anything to supplement, we'll allow her to share a few thoughts as well. The design was a result of a consultation with a number of different government departments and stakeholders, including Canadian heritage, including Indigenous communities, and we tried to take the feedback about what represents Canada. One of the things that we heard is that we want to celebrate our diversity and inclusion. We want to celebrate our natural environment through the consultation process and try to bake those elements into the design. One of the other items that is lost on a lot of people who don't think about passport design every day is the fact that we need to continually change the designs. Countries around the world, when they update their passports, tend not to just tinker with the edges, but go for entirely new themes as part of the security features. When you consistently update wholesale the details from a design point of view for your passport, including the illustrations that find their way into the document, it makes it much harder to counterfeit. It can take a number of years for sophisticated participants in criminal organizations or counterfeit operations to actually catch up to new designs. And by continuing to update wholesale the contents of the passport, we make it more difficult for those who would seek to take advantage of Canada's travel documents.
Not much more to add other than I think when you look at the images here, I mean, these are fairly traditional Canadian images. I mean, if you look at polar bears and people jumping into a lake and birds in the winter, I mean, I think it really captures the spirit of who we are as Canadians.
And then in terms of production and cost, give me an idea. Is the production more complicated? Is it going to be a longer delay before you receive the passport? And will it impact the cost for a passport application?
So there will be no impact to the cost of the passport. The cost remains the same. One thing that's important to know for the rollout is that if you go get a passport today, you're probably not going to get this new design. We still have existing stock of the previous generation, and so we don't need everybody rushing out to go get this new passport. It will be rolled out over the course of the next year, and so there's no way for you to know if you're applying, if you're going to get the older version or the new version. Both are excellent, both are going to be great, but we're going to do it in a way that manages the existing inventory so that we're using taxpayers' dollars effectively.
Hi, Tom Perry, CBC. Why did you get rid of the historic imagery? Did you hear complaints from some stakeholders that they took offense to some of the images in the passport? I'm just wondering why you moved away from historic images to more generic ones.
So there's no feedback we received that says people found our history offensive. I think to just shine a further light on the response I gave previously, there's really two elements that led to the passport design. One was the consultation process, where we received a significant amount of feedback on the need to celebrate our natural environment, to celebrate the diversity of Canada's peoples more so than simply historical artifacts or symbols that we're all still very proud of and that remain part of our passport that's valid today. But we did want to go for a completely new design, in part to protect the security features. If you maintain elements that may have existed in the previous design, it becomes easier to counterfeit the Canadian passport, which is something we want to protect against. So when we go through the next renewal, many years from now, I expect there will be further changes that modify the design in a significant way. And this was meant to reflect a different part of Canada's heritage, in particular our natural environment and the diversity of our people and wildlife.
Could I possibly get that answer in French? Is it possible for, I'm just wondering.
Je vais essayer. J'ai envie de pratiquer en français, mais if you also want to, Karina. C'est important de réfléchir la réponse de les personnes qui participaient dans le processus de consultation. Les personnes qui participaient dans le processus dit c'est très important pour célébrer l'environnement du Canada, la diversité de nos communautés et la communauté autochtone aussi. Quand c'est le temps pour un nouveau document comme le passeport, c'est important pour replacer le thème aussi pour protéger la sécurité de le passeport. Ce n'est pas facile pour créer un document comme ça avec des nouveaux features. I hope that was okay. My French is still a work in progress. Maybe Karina, if you want to add anything.
Je vais seulement ajouter quelque chose qui est important, c'est que le nouveau design du passeport, c'est aussi par réfléchir des nouvelles fonctions sécuritaires. Et comme ministre Fraser a mentionné, c'est important de renouveler le dessin et comment l'image du passeport pour assurer qu'on protège les documents sécuritaires d'identité des Canadiens contre les gens qui veulent l'imiter. Alors ça, c'est quelque chose qui est important. Et peut-être je vais seulement ajouter, ce n'est pas une question partisane, c'est une question de réfléchir l'image du Canada. Et je crois que les Canadiens, quand ils vont voir le nouveau dessin du passeport, ils vont sentir ce sentiment de fierté d'être Canadien, de notre beauté naturelle que nous avons et la diversité de notre population canadienne.
What did you mean? You said in French this is not a partisan issue. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think a couple of the questions have been suggesting that there is a partisan aspect to this, and I think it's important to say that this is not partisan. The design of this passport, started 10 years ago, and this is really about ensuring the security of the document, and it's about ensuring that we're updating the document to make sure that it's harder for fraudsters and criminal organizations to do this. And so I just think it's clear because I think some of the questions have been maybe leading in that way.
Can I just ask one more question, then I promise I'll hand it over. I can't tell from this distance, but the crest on the cover of the passport, have there been any changes made to that?
On the coat of arms?
Coat of arms. Yeah, the coat of arms. Yeah. Has there been any changes made to that? I can't tell.
The coat of arms is the same, right? The coat of arms is still the coat of arms. It's actually the exact same as it was. The crown is Queen Elizabeth's crown because these design and documents were done ahead of time, and of course the new king's crown was only revealed recently. So but if you look when you look on the inside of the passport, it is King Charles is mentioned there. So unfortunately, because these things take a long time to do, and events being as they were, there were some things that were able to be updated in time and others that were not.
Awesome. No questions from the line?
Minister, I wanted to follow up on the online applications for passport renewals. Can you give us any more information about how that will work, who would qualify, and what kind of impact this would have on people's ability to get a passport quickly?
Do you want me to?
We can do it together.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go first?
So IRCC will be launching the new online application. It will only be for renewals. So it's only for people who have had a passport previously, and so that is going to start that way. We still need folks who are applying for a passport for the first time, and that includes children, to go to a passport office or apply in the mail. And it's important to remember that for children under the age of 18, even if you've had a previous passport, it's not considered a renewal. It's considered to be a new application for security reasons and protection reasons for children. But if there's more details, then perhaps you can share them.
Only to share that the online renewal application we anticipate will be available this fall, and we expect it'll create advantages from processing time with the ability to upload your passport directly for the purpose of the renewal.
How is this going to help you out at Service Canada when you have situations with big lines and that sort of thing? Are people going to see a difference in the way that, in the speed in which they're able to access their passports?
Yeah, so I think it's important to note that Service Canada is completely back within service standards when it comes to issuing passports, but it was one of the lessons learned from the experience last spring and summer that we needed to modernize the passport delivery system in Canada. And so we've taken a number of steps, I mean, both internally within Service Canada, and there's the new online status checker as well, which we've seen, you know, has led to thousands of people each week checking the status of their application and a reduction in call volumes because the majority of calls that are made to the passport line are for a status update. And so adding this additional tool means that for people who are just doing a simple renewal of a valid passport, it will be a lot quicker and easier to process as well because we already have that data in the system. You know, simple renewals are fairly easy to process. One thing that's important to remember is that last year when we were experiencing the challenges, only about 15% of applications were renewals. About 80 to 85% were for first-time passport holders. But even still, you know, having that simpler renewal process will make the whole flow easier. And just a reminder that this July is the first anniversary of the first 10-year passport applications. So we do anticipate that over the coming 12 to 18 months, we're going to see a higher volume of renewals. And we've already started to see that in terms of the applications coming in. So I think this is another great tool to add to our toolbox that will ensure a smooth and pleasant experience for Canadians when they apply.
Can you just remind me quickly if you've run pilot projects on this and whether there were any kinks that you kind of had to work out?
There have been pilot projects on this. They've mostly been internal, and so the reason why you know, there's a comfort in like we would never launch this project publicly until there is an assurance that those kinks have been worked through.
Amazing. This will be the last question, and then we invite media to line up and take a look at the new passports.
Good morning, Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News. If you could answer in both English and French, that would be very much appreciated. I'm wondering what kind of message it sends that you've completely removed the historical images that are on the current passports, particularly Terry Fox and the Vimy Ridge Memorial. What kind of message does that send to Canadians?
Okay, I'll start in English, and you'll have to be patient with my French. It's a work in progress. What we wanted to do is reflect the feedback that we heard during the consultation process. The consultation process asked us to build into the design certain considerations around the importance of Canada's natural environment, the diversity of Canada's people, and the need to celebrate Indigenous communities. The fact that we've changed a different theme reflects in part a desire to protect the security of the passport with changed images, because it does make it easier when you maintain the same images for a significant period of time for counterfeiters to abuse the document and to produce fakes. But to be absolutely clear, we're extremely proud of Canada's history. I don't think there's a single person, regardless of their political perspective, who isn't extremely proud of the Marathon of Hope, who doesn't want to continue to commemorate the service of our veterans. There's a number of different ways on our currency, on our travel documents, on our the symbols that we affix to federally owned buildings, sometimes that we honor Canada's history as well as our natural heritage and our people. The decision to move towards the current passport design reflects the feedback that we heard during the consultation process and gives us an opportunity to adjust the theme in a wholesale way in order to protect the security of the document, which is of the utmost importance. And this will be a world-leading travel document from a security point of view. Je vais essayer en français. C'est très important pour le document de réfléchir les discussions avec les parties prenantes, avec les personnes qui participaient dans le processus de consultation. Les personnes qui participaient dans le processus ont dit c'est très important pour célébrer le patrimoine du Canada et l'environnement naturel des communautés autochtones et des diversités de nos communautés partout dans notre pays. Aussi, c'est essentiel pour protéger la sécurité de les documents, de changer le thème après quelques ans pour assurer la sécurité de les documents parce que c'est difficile pour créer un document comme ça pour une personne qui n'est pas le gouvernement du Canada. Hopefully you'll be able to gather from French the similar answer. C'est très important aussi pour protéger l'histoire du Canada, mais ce n'est pas possible juste dans le document comme un passeport. Nous utilisons des opportunités avec la monnaie, avec l'édifice fédéral, avec des autres features ou documents dans le gouvernement du Canada pour célébrer notre histoire. Chaque personne dans notre pays est très fière de l'histoire du Canada, incluant Terry Fox, incluant le Vimy Ridge et des contributions de soldats du Canada. Mais c'est important pour changer le thème, pour protéger la sécurité des documents et réfléchir le processus de consultation.
And, I might just add that this is a normal process. Like about every 10 years, the Government of Canada updates the passport specifically for the reasons why Sean was saying. I mean, we need to make sure that the technology is current. You'll notice that it's multicolored, whereas previously that was not something that was part of the passport design. It has, very strong security features in here, which is going to make the Canadian passport a world-leading document. But I know that sometimes you're looking to create a story, but I think in this regard, it's just about creating a beautiful document for which Canadians can be proud of. And it's important that that's continually updated to make sure that we're keeping fraudsters and criminals at bay while protecting the ability of Canadians to travel with one of the most trusted documents in the world. Alors, comme j'ai mentionné en anglais, il y a beaucoup de nouvelles caractéristiques qui renforcent la sécurité de notre passeport, qui est un des plus fiables documents de voyage dans le monde. Je crois que les Canadiens peuvent être vraiment fiers. Je sais qu'il y a peut-être un intérêt de créer une histoire ici, mais le message qu'on envoie aux Canadiens, c'est que on est en train de dévoiler un nouveau passeport qui est plus sécuritaire, qui va assurer que le Canada soit un leader dans le voyage des personnes, que leurs documents soient fiables et respectés partout dans le monde. Et je crois que il y a des caractéristiques qui promeuvent cette sécurité qui est différente que les anciens passeports, mais vraiment que les Canadiens peuvent être fiers de ce nouveau document. Et quand vous le voyez, vous allez voir, c'est vraiment quelque chose de beauté qui reflète notre fierté comme Canadiens et des autres images. Mais c'est un processus normal qui passe presque chaque 10 ans.
How exactly would you say these images reflect Canada's diversity? Aside from the picture of the Arctic, there aren't any Indigenous symbols that I can see, any Indigenous peoples. So how exactly does this actually reflect Canada's diversity?
It's not
English
every
and
photo
French.
that's there.
There's other photos not on display. If you'd like, I have a copy of the document here we can leaf through. We just picked a sample of some of the images for the display purposes here today. But a number of the photos include people from different regions of Canada, and I'll be happy to share the document up close if others want to take a peek before we take off from the airport today.
Thank you. That concludes all the time that we have for questions. Again, please line up over here to take a look at the new passports. Thank you.
Excellent. Oh, they're over there. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Merci tout le monde.